Okay, I want to talk about the heart of a wise man versus the heart of a fool. What does it take to get wisdom from somebody? And I'm having this argument with my daughter right now, so I figured it'd be a good time to put something like this on the... Yeah, it's amazing that a 14-year-old thinks they know more than a 42-year-old man. That's just the nature of children. You know, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it far from them. And I'm not trying to say that I need to beat her or anything like that, so don't misconstrue my thoughts. But I will say that when a 14-year-old thinks they know more than a 42-year-old and seems intent on going with that you do have to put them in their place from time to time. It's always funny, and it's just the nature of people too. It's too early to see whether she'll be wise or fool, but I will tell you this, that she's ahead of her class, because I see that she does strive to understand her way on a lot of things. But that's just the nature. When you start to learn a few things, you start to think you know a lot more than you actually know, and there's a level of understanding that comes later that says that you will eventually learn how much you don't know. Or you'll learn that you never really know how much there is that you don't know. You'll learn that there's just so much out there. But that's like next level. I didn't know that at 14 either, and I thought I knew more than everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people. But I did listen. I listened intently to others around me who were telling the truth, and even people that weren't telling the truth. I understand that truth comes in a variety of ways, even through foolish people sometimes, okay? Because good water might come through a rusty pipe and you might have to filter it, okay? So dumb people say intelligent things all the time. Everybody knows something I don't know, therefore everybody is my teacher. It's very important to just take knowledge and understanding and wisdom from the world around you, from other people, from smart people, from wise people, and even from fools. And generally speaking, you might have to go through a lot of fools to get a few nuggets, okay? When you filter for gold or pan for gold, you have to go through a whole lot of water, a whole lot of dirt, and a whole lot of little nuggets that put them together to try to get one valuable nugget of gold. But that's the process. You'll have to strain through a lot of foolishness to weed out and pull out some good wisdom. So I'm going to read to you from Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Wow, that's valuable information right there, because if you're going to learn from anybody, you're going to have to be the one responsible to get the wisdom out of the person. I hate it when somebody comes up and thinks that it's your obligation to prove something to them. Recently, a person was commenting on a video that I did with Hugh, and he says something really stupid, and he says, where's the proof that what you're saying is accurate? Okay, well, it's not necessarily stupid in and of itself if you just walked up and you're just like, okay, where can I look into this more, if that's the way you mean it? But that's not the way you meant it, because Hugh goes on there and he says, well, how many years have you known me and ignored my proof? He says the proof's all over my pictures and all over my Facebook. Think about that. And then I found out later that this person had been Hugh's friend for 10 years, okay, on Facebook friend. So imagine that you've had access to the Kennedy assassination information. You've had access to learn how Jimmy Hoffa and why Jimmy Hoffa was killed. You have access to learn how the pedophile gangs in this country work. You've had access to learn exactly what 9/11 was about. And you sat on it for 10 freaking years and did nothing. Imagine how stupid and unwise that is. Hopefully some of you listening, though, you'll understand, you'll grasp onto that, and you'll say, oh, wow, maybe I'm being unwise in some areas. Maybe I really need to go out and find the truth, and I need to filter it out for myself. I need to go out and figure out the right and the wrong. And I need to learn what's really going on. Right now, on Hugh's former property on the Manning Ranch, sits a whole fleet of buses with the Premier Network logo on them. Now, Premier Network, that runs your radio stations all over the country and is including coast to coast. Now, the people from Coast to Coast AM are sitting on Hugh's story. They don't care to tell the truth because it might cost them a lot of money. They might have to pay. But they know the truth, and they're sitting there waiting on it to manipulate. So, but they know there's a lot of money in it. And when Hugh's gone, they're gonna take off with this story right now, and you're gonna hear Hugh's truth everywhere. But right now, you're not hearing it because it'll cost them money. Believe me, this truth is big. And that's just the nature of truth. Truth is out there for you to get if you want it, but you don't expect people to give it to you. You have to go get it. Do you expect the gold to come to you when you go out panning? No, you have to pan for it. Do you expect water to come up the well to you? No. Do you expect the fish to jump in your boat? No. You have to put the line out. You have to go fishing. You have to go learn. You have to do the research. You have to do it. It's so arrogant to go and to assume that the other person has to overcome all of your objectives. You shouldn't sit there with objectives. You should listen and then compare it at home. You shouldn't go out. Look what the Bible says here. Proverbs, the book of wisdom, okay? Here it says, a fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterward. You see, if you're going to understand wisdom from anyone, you're going to have to shut your mouth. If this is how you know somebody's not ready to receive wisdom, if you've spent your entire life understanding truth or a topic or knowledge, and a person immediately has a rebuttal for the first thing you say, that person is not being wise. You know, the first thing that pops in their head is equal to everything you've learned all over years and years. It's insulting. It's demeaning. And if you want to learn anything, you have to shut your mouth and listen. You know, my daughter was arguing with me about something, and she's 14, and I said, when I was 13, I read the Bible for the first time. Have you read your Bible through or even a few books of it yet? Oh, and you're going to argue with me about the wisdom of your position. But I know I'm right, Dad, and I don't think you are. Okay. Well, you know, maybe you better spend some more time thinking about your position, you know. But she does have a foundation. She does have a start, and she's ahead of her class because she does search out facts and understanding. Let's see what else. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. You understand that how smart it is to just go and listen to people who know more than you, even if you don't agree with them? Notice I didn't say it's good to go and just rebuttal and argue with everybody that knows more than you, because they may be wrong on something, but it's wise to listen. It's wise to try to draw out that information from them. Be a companion of wise men. It's utterly foolish for any child not to listen intently to their parents, because that parent knows more and has your best interest in mind like nobody else on earth. If they're a good parent, you know. I mean, there's some evil people out there, of course. But even those evil people probably have information that you can learn from as a child, just because they've been through more life than you, if nothing else. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who know his precepts have good understanding. You ever talk to people and you realize they're very devoid of wisdom, very devoid of understanding? And then you realize, well, they've never even read their Bible before. They've never really sought for truth. They've never really put their heart toward understanding ever. They spend a lot of time in sports, and they get tattoos all over their body, and they're buying lottery tickets, and you understand that wisdom's not really even valuable to them because they've never started with the fear of the Lord. And a lot of people cannot understand you because they've never started with the foundation of wisdom. If you haven't thought about eternity, about the future, about the nature of reality, and you haven't contemplated it deeply, you should not come to me arrogantly and tell me where and how I'm wrong. You might be right. The funny thing is I'll actually listen to you when you do it, because somewhere in your big pile of ignorance, in your big pile of stupidity, you're going to have some nugget of truth, and I'm going to add that to my database of understanding. And it's always funny because you'll know the wise man because he's listening to the fool most of the time, and the fool is the one doing all the talking and not listening. A wise man will listen to a fool. A fool will not listen to a wise man. Because a wise man knows that the fool has a little bit of information, but the fool doesn't even understand that the person he's sitting next to understands the nature of reality better than he does. It's amazing how the world works, and we're surrounded by people who don't listen to people like Hugh Squires, who has all this information, massive amount of information about the reality and nature of what's happened to our country. People sit there on his friends list for 10 years and don't look into what he posts all the time. Probably because they think in their arrogance, in their foolishness, that Hugh should come and beat down their door and try to force it against their objections. And that's not, nobody's going to do that. Don't you understand that? When you raise up an objection, like my kid did today, on the very first thing that pops in her head, I understand that you're speaking from a foolish heart. Immediately I understand, just by the fact that you didn't take the time to listen, that you didn't draw out the counsel. Because the counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. And I know you don't have understanding if you're not drawing it out. How wise it is to sit with wise men, with older men. How wise it is to sit with your parents, with your grandparents. How wise it is to listen to people of understanding and experience and not contradict them with what you think is true, but draw it out, add to the conversation. Oh, okay, so Dad, you said this, does it also apply to this? And don't sit around and worry about whether that every last thing that your dad said is 100% right at the moment. Try to get the full picture. Draw it out. Get the entire package before you make a decision. A wise person is going to draw out the understanding. They're going to spend time trying to get to know the full picture and everything that person has to offer. A wise man will try to get that picture from a fool, even though the fool really doesn't have a very good picture. But a wise man will listen and will be able to put together your entire life, and the fool won't even understand what the wise man just did to you. Don't be a fool. Listen. Listen to people like you. Listen to older people. And shut up. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.